Welcome to the Marriage and Parenting Counseling course. I'm Dr. Stephen Myers. I'm with the Institute for Biblical and Scientific Studies, and you can learn more about us at BibleandScience.com. The course on marriage and parenting will cover the keys to marriage, keys to parenting, then there will be a quiz and resources. Different books will also be mentioned throughout the course that you can get more information and read those books as well. My wife and I are complete and total opposites. We did not realize this until after we were married. Opposite personalities tend to gravitate together. If the husband and wife are both very dominant, then the marriage will probably not last long unless they can resolve their conflicts. Outgoing personalities fit well with introverts. We look for traits in a partner that will complement or balance us out. This is just what naturally happens. Not only do opposites attract, they attack. The very things that attracted me to my wife became the very things that caused conflict in the marriage. The conflicts can be used to polish off the rough spots in our personalities. I'm usually cold, she's hot. She wants the window open, I want it closed. She wants the fan on, I want the fan off. Complete opposites that can attack each other if we're not careful and work it out. Background differences. The more your background is different from your spouse, the more problems there are to adjust to. There are differences between the rich, poor, educated, uneducated, rural, city, black, white, and north and south. All sorts of differences in our background. Age differences can cause a problem. The divorce rate is higher for those who have a 5-year or more age difference. The way I was raised was very different than the way my wife was raised. I come from a strict fundamentalist Baptist background. We did not go to the movies, for they supported wicked Hollywood movies. Men are from Mars. Another big factor is that there are major biological and psychological differences between men and women. There's an excellent book entitled Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus by John Gray. And this book points out the differences and shows how to improve your relationship. This book is highly recommended for you. It's the little things. I remember going on a trip overseas. I thought I would not have any problems adjusting, but I did. It was not the big things, but the little unexpected things. The same is true with marriage. She squeezes the toothpaste from the middle. I squeeze it from the end. Why can't she squeeze it from the end? She puts it right side up. I put it upside down so it'll all flow downward and be easy to use. Why can't she do that? And we have all these little things that can get on your nerves. But you can't let that happen. My wife and I both had unrealistic high expectations about marriage. She expected lots of cards and flowers, and I expected lots of sex. Since we were both Christians, we thought we would have no problems at all. My wife thought our children would be perfect angels because we're both good Christians. Finding my father or mother. Your family background is so influential that subconsciously the girl will look for a husband that is like her father, and the boy will look for a wife that is like his mother. We do this subconsciously. The myth of the perfect soulmate. There is widespread myth that there is just one Mr. Right for my life, or one Mrs. Right for my life. After the honeymoon is over, you wake up and realize, I married Mr. Wrong. The truth is, there is no perfect soulmate. As soon as you marry him, you will find out that he was not so perfect after all. Should I marry someone else? Well, the grass always looks greener on the other side, and the other side usually turns out much more worse. Let's suppose you do divorce Mr. Right or to find someone better. It is highly likely you will marry the same personality type again, because opposites do attract. The time that you must and should separate for divorce is when there is spousal abuse. That's when you need to separate. Changing my man. After marriage, women want to change their man, while men want their women to stay the same. Trying to improve your man will be very difficult, if not impossible. The only thing you can change for sure is yourself. There is an excellent, interesting book entitled What You Can Change and What You Can't by Dr. E.P. Siegelman. Most of the time we end up trying to change the things we really cannot change. Communication is key in a marriage. Communication is key to keeping your marriage great. Women assume that guys know what they are thinking and feeling, but in reality, men don't have even a clue. We're very stupid when it comes to understanding what women want. Men are like a dog who needs to be trained. Women must tell them what they want, or they will end up harboring resentment inside, which will eventually boil over. There are two types of communication. There is cognitive communication, where it's rational, and emotional communication, where you're talking about feelings. Men want to talk about the facts of the situation. The women want to talk about the feeling. Women want more communication of feeling, how you're feeling. When we do have an argument, we need to fight fair. Couples are going to have disagreements. We're going to have fights. It's not going to be perfect. When you do fight, it must be fair. Airing a complaint can be healthy for a marriage, but just yelling and screaming about it will not. Working out your differences is key to a good marriage. Negativity is a killer to a marriage. Here are 4 things to avoid. Criticism. Don't criticize, make a factual statement or complaint. Contempt, insults and mockeries, avoid this. Defensiveness, denial and giving excuses, don't do this. Stonewalling, being silent and withdrawing, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. These are things you should not do. Here are 4 key things in fighting fair. Calm down. Take deep breaths in. You may want to wait a minute. Speak non-defensively, not screaming and yelling at each other. Validation. Listen to what she is saying. Let her know that you understand her situation and what she's trying to communicate. And then over-learning. Try it again to improve. Avoid always or never. You always come home late. You never take out the garbage. Have fair fights. Work out your problems. Work through them. There is no perfect marriage. Another key to marriage is forgiveness. Most couples know the hot buttons to push to get their partner upset and angry. Many will bring up the past events, what happened in the past, but forgiveness is key. Don't keep bringing up the past. Move on to the future. Another key in marriage is encouragement. We all need encouragement. He who pulls himself down up by putting others down has a very poor foundation. We need to build others up, build our partner up, encourage them. What do men want? What men need is sex, sex, sex. In the distance is their stomach and sports. Sex is how men feel and show love. Why? It's all the testosterone building up. That's just natural testosterone building up in their bodies. Men's bodies, especially during the teen years, are producing a lot of testosterone that makes them act the way they do. The first girl that comes along in a mini skirt and they think they have fallen in love with her. What women really want. Women need love. Not a lot of sex, but love and appreciation. For my wife, the home is an extension of herself. If the house is a mess, then she feels a mess. She wants things fixed around the house. This will show that you care about her. Commitment is the key to a lasting marriage. If your marriage is just until love do us part, then love will not last long. The feeling of being in love does not last very long after the honeymoon. Reality sets in and you wonder, what in the world did you get yourself into? True love is a commitment to each other. Our feelings of love will go up and down like a roller coaster. It is commitment that will make the marriage last. This is key. What is your emotional intelligence? Women want to relate emotionally. There's an excellent book entitled Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. One may be smart intellectually, but inept at handling their emotion. This book gives helpful insights. He has also written one on social intelligence, being able to get along with others, which is also excellent. Money is also a key debate in marriages, how we use our money. It's an area of struggle and fights in a marriage. In today's world, many husbands and wives both must work to pay all the bills. Having and raising children is very expensive. College is very expensive. This puts a lot of pressure on the family financially. Management of money is key. There are struggles over what to spend money on, or not enough money to pay all the bills. Beware of running up credit cards. This book, Managing Your Money All-in-One for Dummies book, is a good resource to start at. Now we want to move to part 2 about parenting. Perfect children. This is the myth of perfect children. My wife thought since we were both Christians and in Christian ministry, we would have perfect children. The first baby who came out screamed for several months and dashed these dreams. Differences in children. Each child is different. Each child has a unique personality. Therefore, you cannot raise them exactly the same way. There are 3 basic types of children. There's the easy child. That's what I like, the easy child. Then the slow to warm up child. And then the difficult child. The way kids think. There's a very interesting book entitled Kid Think by Dr. William Carter. Right now it's out of print. It deals with the 6 most common behavioral problems with children. Another good book is Why Children Misbehave, A Guide to Positive Parenting by Bruce Naramore, and this one is still in print. There is the oppositional child, the sensitive child, the anxious child, the depressed child, the self-centered teenager. Well, that seems like most of them. The deceitful child. Balance is key to marriage and to parenting. Don't be too strict and don't be too lenient. You need a balance in the middle. And sometimes your wife will balance you out. And this is very helpful. Unconditional love. If I was to err, it would be giving them too much love. If you are not loved as a child, then it is going to be hard for you to show love to others. Unconditional love is the foundation for the child's relationships for the rest of his life. If there is no love-bound relationship with the child will have problems later on in life. The most important relationship in the family is the marital relationship. If things are going bad between the husband and wife, it's going to affect the children. Family systems. Systems theory is a good way to understand the dynamics of the family, the way each member interacts with each other. And this is a good book called Systems Theory in Action. And this has some good summaries and overall view of systems theory. The generational cycle. Many times the sins of the fathers and the mothers are repeated in their children, and it keeps going on, the cycle of the sins from generation to generation. Children will do what you do, not what you say. If you say don't smoke or drink, and you smoke and drink, then your children are probably going to smoke and drink. It seems that children just pick up all our bad habits. There's an interesting book, Bradshaw on the Family by John Bradshaw, and has some very interesting insights about the family and a dysfunctional family. As parents, we always seem to worry about our children. We think it will get better when they are grown up, but when they are teens, there's even more to worry about. Don't worry about things you can't change. Commit it to God. If you raise them well, then they have a good foundation for their life. As teenagers, they will not realize this until much later in life. If you want to change things by the time they become teenagers, it's already too late. Build that foundation early in life. Teenagers. For teenage girls, age 14 is the peak year of rebellion. It is when they experiment the most with drugs, sex, and want a tattoo. The harder you tighten the rope, the more they want loose. If you have not already instilled good habits, it is most likely too late to make any big changes now. If only one parent is raising the child, things are much more difficult. A missing or absent father or mother for a child may result in wayward teens. A teenage girl is more likely to be promiscuous if her father is absent. But still, God works miracles and helps you through the teenage years. Codependency. Sometimes the mother may try to live her life out through her daughter. The mother may enable the alcoholic father. Here are some key codependency traits. Number 1, driven by compulsion or compulsions. 2, bound by the way things are done in the dysfunctional family. Self-esteem is very low. Happiness hinges on others. Inordinately responsible for others. Relationship with spouse hurts. Denial and repression of things. Worries about things they can't change. It's a life of extremes, ups and downs. Looking for something that is missing in their life. There's a good book, and find more information about this in Love is a Choice by Helmfeld, Mirth, and Meyer. Abuse. Those who abuse their children were most likely abused by their parents, and this cycle seems to keep continuing. A very young girl who is physically and sexually abused may develop a multiple personality disorder. This is her way of coping with the abuse. In some Christian homes, beatings are seen not as abuse but God's way of discipline. Leaving marks on a child is abuse and must stop. Many try to use the Bible to excuse their beatings, but this is wrong. Sense or nonsense. Sometimes we just need to use common sense. I'm concerned about Christian leaders who go around speaking at conferences claiming to be experts on how to raise your children. One has never been married and has no children, yet seems to have all the answers. For example, if your daughter plays with a Cabbage Patch doll, this is terrible. There is demonic influence here. Or plays with a Barbie doll, she will have psychological problems when she grows up. There is no scientific evidence for this. Another says, claims that you must start disciplining your baby as soon as possible, putting them on a strict feeding program. If the baby cries, do not feed them until the right and proper time. Many babies have become malnourished, and this is abuse. Don't follow this program. If the baby cries, take care of the baby. Another is not going to the hospital to have your baby, but having it at home. This seems to be pretty popular. This can be dangerous if something goes wrong. Then another controversy is about not vaccinating your children. They think something is going to go wrong, their children are going to get sick, so they don't vaccinate their children. But the overwhelming scientific evidence supports the vaccination of children. The Faith Tabernacle Congregation in Philadelphia does not believe in giving medicine to their children or adults. A number of children came down with a sickness, and medicine was denied. They didn't believe in it, and a number of the children died. These are extremes. Avoid these extremes. Use common sense. That's why we have medicine to help out. Luke was a physician in the Bible who wrote most of the New Testament. The empty nest syndrome. Let your children go. They need to be independent. For some, that is not soon enough. They want them out right away. It seems that children are staying longer than usual, mainly financially. After all the children leave the house, there is an emptiness. Loneliness may set in. Many couples divorce because they just stayed together for the children. Spend time together now. Go out on a date, plan special trips, enjoy the later years of your life together. Enjoy it. Finally, on death and dying. A loved one, your spouse may pass away, your children may pass away, and there's 5 main stages of grief. The first is denial. You deny that the person is really gone. Next, there's anger. You become angry at God for taking this person away from you. Next, there's bargaining. You want to bargain with God. I will do this. I will be good. I will go to church. I'll read my Bible more if you will only do this for me. Then there's depression. Depression sets in over the loss. Then finally, acceptance of the loss. Accept that that person is gone. This is a great book that covers these 5 stages on death and dying by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. The key Christian textbook for this course is Marriage and Family, A Christian Perspective by Stephen Gunlin. This covers many of the topics that we've covered in this presentation and goes into depth and is used as a textbook in Christian colleges. So this is a recommended resource. Thank you for taking this course. This is with the Institute for Biblical and Scientific Studies. You can find more information about us on the web at www.bibleandscience.com. Thank you very much.